The pub's warm, inviting glow behind me flickered as I stumbled onto the empty street. It was one of those nights when the air was thick with an ominous stillness, and the moon hid behind a blanket of clouds. I knew I had indulged a little too much, the world around me swaying and morphing into blurry shapes. The alcohol had taken control of my senses, and a mixture of laughter and unease echoed in my mind. The town had always seemed quaint, almost charming, but tonight, under the shroud of darkness, it appeared entirely different, sinister almost. The street lamps cast long, distorted shadows that seemed to dance alongside me, and the rustling leaves in the trees whispered secrets I couldn't quite decipher. My footsteps echoed, each one pounding like a distant drumbeat. Every now and then, a gust of wind would carry the distant howl of a dog or the eerie creak of a rusted swing in the playground up ahead. The world felt both vast and claustrophobic, as if I were being watched by 1,000 pairs of unseen eyes. My rational mind knew that it was just the alcohol playing tricks on me, conjuring up a symphony of fear from the depths of my imagination. But as I stumbled along the sidewalk, a new sensation tugged at the edges of my consciousness, a gut feeling that something wasn't right. The street, once so familiar, had turned into a labyrinth of uncertainty, each corner hiding a new enigma. As I approached the playground, the swings swayed gently in the wind, their rusty chains creaking in a macabre harmony. The sight was oddly poetic, like a scene from a horror movie I'd seen ages ago. I chuckled nervously to myself, trying to convince myself that I was being silly, that nothing truly sinister was lurking nearby. But then, a faint melody reached my ears, a child's laughter, delicate and innocent, like a fragile glass ornament. It seemed to come from the depths of the playground, where the shadows were at their darkest. The sound was out of place in the desolate night, a stark contrast to the heavy silence that had enveloped the town. My heart raced, the alcohol-induced haze giving way to raw adrenaline. I strained to see through the darkness, my eyes desperately searching for the source of the laughter. The swings continued to sway, each creak now a sinister whisper, and the laughter persisted, growing in volume and intensity. With a mixture of trepidation and curiosity, I took a hesitant step toward the playground. The ground felt uneven beneath my unsteady feet, as if the very earth was conspiring to keep me off balance. The laughter was now accompanied by the faint sound of footsteps, like someone skipping around in the shadows. My pulse pounded in my ears as I entered the playground, my eyes darting around nervously. And then I saw her, a little girl dressed in a tattered white dress, her hair a cascade of darkness that seemed to absorb what little light remained. She sat on a swing, her feet barely touching the ground, her head tilted at an unnatural angle as if she were studying me. I opened my mouth to speak, but no words came out. The air grew colder, and the laughter ceased as suddenly as it had begun. The girl's gaze bore into me, her eyes two pools of infinite darkness that seemed to swallow the very essence of my being. It was as if I were frozen in place, trapped in the gaze of something far more ancient and malevolent than I could comprehend. Then, with a jolt, the girl's head snapped back into a normal position, and she smiled. A smile that stretched too wide, revealing rows of teeth that glinted like polished obsidian. Her swing creaked as it started to sway back and forth, the chains groaning in protest. I turned and ran, my heart thundering in my chest. The world around me became a blur of shadows and distorted shapes as I sprinted through the town, fueled by a primal terror I had never known before. The pub's warm lights finally came into view, a beacon of safety in the darkness. I burst through the door, my breath ragged, my body drenched in sweat. The bartender looked at me with concern, but all I could manage was a gasping request for a glass of water. As I gulped down the cool liquid, I stole a glance out the window. The night outside appeared calm, ordinary. The playground no longer held any trace of the girl. Was it a trick of the alcohol? A figment of my imagination? Or had I truly stumbled upon something otherworldly that night? I may never know the answer, but one thing was certain. The town that had once felt familiar and safe was forever tainted by the chilling encounter. And as I left the pub that night, I couldn't shake the feeling that those shadows, those creaking swings, and that unsettling laughter would haunt my every step for the rest of my days.